You know, being a fan of classic RPGs, especially classic JRPGs from like the Super Nintendo, PS1 era these days, it's not really an easy task. You don't have a lot of games that service that kind of niche genre anymore. And every now and then when one does come along, it's usually an indie game that doesn't have a lot of funding behind it. It's always very charming, it's always very well written, but it doesn't always scratch every itch. And then rarely every now and then, a game comes along that does scratch every itch. It does hit on all the hallmarks of that classic JRPG goodness. It hits on characters, story, music, art, gameplay, all these things that make this amazing symphony, this amazing tapestry of what basically is a love letter to a bygone era in gaming. Which, if reviews of this game are any indicator, it's an era that maybe needs to come back just a hair. Just a hair. Of course, I'm talking about The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of this review, I am just going to gush a little bit. When this game was announced, I was like, oh, it looks like A Link to the Past if Square Enix had made it instead of Nintendo. A Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and I still stand by that, but it's so much more than that. The story goes deep, and there are moments when it nods to A Link to the Past. It nods to Chrono Trigger. It nods to a lot of other classic RPG, action RP, or role-playing turn-based RPGs. It has a lot of nods to classic games, but those are the two, and a little bit of the Mana series as well. But those are the two that really stand out to me. Of course, if you look on my shelf back here, I'm just a little bit biased in that regard. But the Adventures of Elliot, always want to say Tales of Elliot. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. It does it all. It's everything I wanted this game to be, and so much more. I can't say enough good things about it. Right when you think you've loved everything about the game, it shows you something else. It gives you something else, an endearing moment with characters, a piece of music that's new. The gameplay itself is not super difficult. The games and the bosses and stuff, but that is not the charm of the game. The charm of the game is its story, is its endearing characters. Elliot has this quality. He's not your typical RPG tortured hero and everything. He's got some tropes about him, like I was an orphan, don't know where I came from, all that kind of thing. But he is a jolly good fellow. He is just a wonderful guy to have around. He's just, and it never comes off as fake or forced. The writing is incredible. He always comes off as just an endearing, really good dude. And when the chips are down, he puts his head down and he can get hard. He can get a little hard, but he's never like teetering on a bad guy or an anti-hero or any of these tropes these days that are super popular and honestly played out. Sometimes you just want to see heroes doing hero stuff. And that's what The Adventures of Elliot is. That's who Elliot is. So this game did everything I wanted to do and so much more. The characters, the art, the story, the music, the gameplay, everything was exactly what I wanted it to be. And the use of time travel in this, I love Chrono Trigger. It's one of the greatest video games ever made. Incredible characters you just want to hang out with. A story, a world you feel like you could jump into and have a good time in. It does everything right. But it also started the whole time travel RPG aspect of things for me, personally. You could argue there were other things before that, but for me, Chrono Trigger was the one. It was the one. I dare say Tales of Elliot, or there I go again. I dare say Adventures of Elliot takes what Chrono Trigger did with the time travel story stuff, and even A Link to the Past to a degree, because you travel back and forth between the Dark World, it's different, but it takes what that did, and it turned the volume up on it a little bit. It really used the time travel device to tell a fluid, complete, and coherent story of tragedy, loss, and the impact of your actions. And it didn't do it in like a cheap way, like if, you make this person mad 300 years ago, then their ancestor becomes the villain. It's not that simple. It's not that smooth brained, right? It's really deep, and it cuts to the emotion of what these actions do, what the repercussions of these actions are. So let's get into it a little bit, and I'm going to start by talking about just the characters. The characters in Elliot are amazing. I'll start with Elliot. Like, he is just a really good, endearing guy. You start with him. He's helping out Leica at the orphanage, you know. And in the beginning, it's kind of a little skewed on like how old she's supposed to be or whatever. But there's these other kids in the orphanage, and they all look up to Elliot. He's like a big brother, really more like a father figure to these kids. So he goes off on his adventures, and he tries to make sure the orphanage is taken care of and everybody has what they need. But he goes off and helps all these other people too. And you get to see him experience loss up front and personal right in the beginning. And this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler review. So be warned, a little bit of a spoiler review. So you get to see that. But instead of him making it about him, I lost my best friend. I lost a good friend of mine. It wasn't about him. He made it his duty. And this is what good people do, right? You can experience loss, you can wear it on your shoulders however you want. But he didn't throw a pity party for himself. He went immediately and was helping the woman that his friend left behind. Gotta make sure you're good. I'll go find this heirloom of him and help you out. I want you to be good. That was what it always was with him. If Elliot could help someone feel better, even in a tragic loss or the loss of property or something terrible happening, he didn't make it about him. It was about helping the other characters, and that did so much for the story. And that did so much. And this is great writing, and here's why. When you do that with your main character, it makes the other characters feel more important, and it lifts up the cast. It's not just about the character, it's about the cast. So you get to know the king, you get to know the princess, you get to know all these other characters who are all great characters. The king, I thought he was fantastic character. Eugene, his friend in that era, who helps out with, his old traveling buddy, old adventuring buddy, helps out. He's kind of like the whiz kid, the genius who figures things out and stuff. And there's Princess Huria, who is great. A lot of times they have some of these side characters and stuff that don't feel like a big deal. I kept thinking something was going to happen. Eugene was going to turn out to be the villain, but that was me giving into tropes, right? That was me expecting left turns and stuff like that. You get a little bit of a different left turn, which is great, and we'll get into it. But these characters are great. Huria, I thought she was fantastic. If they do a second game, I hope it's Elliot and Huria adventuring together. She can play way different, obviously, because she uses magic and all this other kind of stuff, and he can play different. And Faye, the fairy, I thought she was fantastic. I usually don't like chirpy characters who are trying to be cutesy and stuff the whole time in a game. Japan doesn't always do that well. Sometimes they come off as irritating and start to wear thin on you after a while. She never felt that way. The whole game, I was just like, man, I hope we line out her story as well. I hope we figure out what's going on with her character and her story and all that other kind of stuff. So she was great. The characters are great. The characters you meet in other areas. Some of the there was one era, the Age of Budding. That's like the furthest back you can go, basically. There's an Age of Myths that you never really get to go to. I hope a second game might explore that a little bit. But you go back to the Age of Budding. I didn't really feel a deep connection to those characters, but it's because I don't feel like I personally did a lot in that era. I did what I needed to do to get all the stuff, basically. But I loved the characters in the Age of Magic. I loved the characters in the Age of Reconstruction, which was kind of like... The Age of Reconstruction was kind of your dark future era. It was after the Age of Magic, which was after the Age of Budding. So it's Age of Budding, Age of Magic, Age of Reconstruction, and then the Age of Safekeeping, which is where Elliot's from. So I really loved the characters in those two middle eras. And of course, Elliot's era as well. The Age of Reconstruction really had the Doomed Future vibe of Chrono Trigger. Didn't have the Doomed Future kind of music, which I think the Doomed Future music in Chrono Trigger, the Ruined Future, I love the melancholy of that music. If you know if you know, you know, right? But I thought the Age of Reconstruction told a great story with the rise of the Hero King and the fallout of humanity being basically on the brink of extinction because of the fall of the Age of Magic. Learning what happened in the Age of Magic, mistakes that were made there, repercussions felt in the Age of Reconstruction, and then in the Age of Safekeeping, the fire and the desire of the characters to keep things sound for human beings, you know. And then that plays into the story at the end with the Mew, and you find out everything with the Mew and the sages and everything, and it's the whole time travel and everything. The sages have been watching you. These 3 sages the whole time have been watching and hoping that you're the one that can, you know, bring everybody together in a new future for humans and Mew. It's such a great story, and it's one of those stories that's so well written and so well executed that it clicks with you at the exact moment when the writers wanted it to click with you. That rarely happens these days. Rarely happens these days. Like when a writer can, like, this is what the moment when these people playing this game have to get it right here. And that's when you get it. You understand what's going on at different levels, right? Fantastic execution on that. So the characters were great. I thought Mao, she is a tragic character in the story. Her mother and father pass away. You get to see her from a kid to an adult, to having a family of her own, to what happens with her in the end. I won't go full spoilery with everything, but I thought wrapping up the true ending of the game and getting the full character arc for that character. So I'm going to spoil it a little bit. Seeing a game execute the time travel story where Lavos is different, right? So Lavos and Chrono Trigger, he's an entity. He's like just this characterless entity, right? And he's just uncaring. He's a parasite and all this other kind of stuff. Getting to see a full character arc for a villain of a game, and then the redemption of that character, is pretty cool. Now, we're not going to talk about the other game where people are begging for a redemption arc. That shouldn't happen. But in this makes sense because you see what was taken away from this character by countless and almost like the darkness consumed her to such an extent that she became this other thing, you know. And she never, like, she fought people and all that kind of thing, but you never really, that I recall, never really saw her kill anybody, right? She imprisons Huria in the ice, and she's fine later. And then she deflects the people in the Age of Magic who are trying to capture her and stuff. But you never really see her take out like a main or a sub character, right? She always like gets people away and runs off and screams into the air or whatever. So, and then she has the curse spell that's causing the Age of Safekeeping to disappear. But anyway, I digress. Getting to see that full character arc, I think, was just phenomenal. Phenomenal character work. Phenomenal storytelling. Just excellent on all counts. So, when it comes to the story, it kind of bleeds into that with the characters and the story. Top marks. It's so well written. I mean, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but the lore they created for this game, like, I couldn't put it down. Like, you all know me. I am a lord of lore. I can't get enough. Like, creating worlds, I mean, that's what I do. And seeing other people do their thing with that is chef's kiss when it's done right. This was done right, because it didn't even give us everything. They were like, oh, well, yeah, we've got a ton of lore. You can tell there's a ton of lore here. We'll give you a taste of it. Roll credits. I want more. Like, I want more lore. And what they wrote for these stories, didn't even see the Age of Myths. There's probably something in the future. There's probably other little ages in there they wrote in, like what led to, you know, the rise of the kingdom as it stands in the Age of Safekeeping. What happened, the whole era where the Age of Magic fell, what did that look like? You know, there are so many stories you can tell in this world. Like what happened to Icarus. I liked him as a character, you know. He was friendly with the Mew, you know. And when he found out what the evil scientist guy, I forget his name, forgive me, but that guy, when he saw what he was doing, he was highly objectionable to it, you know? So it was really good. The story was great, and I want to see more lore. I want to see them dive deeper into that. I would read books of this if they put it out. Like, this is like, they got a real shot at a real long-lasting IP here if they play their cards right. And I think the way it looked was stunning. The way it was executed and performed was stunning. The performance of the characters, the voice acting, the voice direction. Let's give a shout out to our voice directors out there. Excellent. They did such a good job on this. Bravo. Top to bottom. The characters of the story, top notch. I have no notes at all. I think the things we didn't get and we could have seen, I think they want to save that. You don't want to give them everything up front. So I will say, there are 2 points that I thought I was done with the game, right? The first, when it opens up and you can go fight the evil sorcerer in the Northern Tower. I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to do it now, but I could go finish the game right now if I wanted to. Obviously not going to do this right now because I've been around the block. I know there's more to do. But when I got to the first point, that you know, okay, it seems like I finished everything, let me go do this. I went and finished the game. Thought I was finishing the game, right? Then a voice speaks to you from beyond. Oh, you hear the thoughts of this character. It's like, oh, we're not done yet, you know. You roll credits, and then you go back, and there's like another 7 to 8 hours after that to get the true ending. Are you serious? Are you serious? Most games that come out these days are 7 to 8 hours. And here I was sitting at, I don't know, maybe 27, 28, maybe close to 30 hours in. Like, oh, we've got another buffet. You finished your dessert, sir? Okay, well, we've got another buffet we're going to roll up here for you. Yes, please. Yes, please. I will put myself in food coma. Just keep shoveling it in. It's too good to pass up. I can't pass on it right now. So you get another 7 to 8 hours, and then you complete the game, and there's actually a point in there where you could go beat the game again. And it was obvious to me at that point, and many others, I'm sure, that no, I need to press forward. There's more to get. There's more to do. And it was just a fantastic experience. I think I finished right around 36 or 37 hours. I got my money's worth out of that. That was a great experience. Top to bottom. And I still haven't even platinumed the game. There's still things to do that I didn't find that I got to go platinum and get done. And I don't platinum games. I am going to be moved to platinum this game. Absolutely. The artwork of this game was stellar. And I mean everything from sprites all the way up to character art, the layout of things, the sketches at the end of the game. Each ending had like its own sketch with that brilliant main theme that plays over the start of the game. So when I finished my playthrough, it's on the channel if you want to go see the last part of my playthrough. I'm going to try to get that cobbled into one big video, so bear with me on that. But like, when I got the final ending and you get this brilliant sketch of the ending, I was just like, I just let it sit there for a few minutes. I didn't want it to be over. I didn't want it to be over. I was like, what an experience. What a tale. What an achievement. So the artwork lent itself to that. All the different pieces of character art. And there were a couple of situations in the story that you would only see like a piece of character art like maybe once or twice. So they did like a whole rendering and a character, a pose and everything that you only see like once or twice. Like Faye's appearance, like when she's like all posed out and everything, you maybe see that once or twice. Elliot's got a couple of battle poses that you see maybe once or twice. They look super cool. Huria's got great art, but Mao's character art is off the charts in this game. I love the way her character design looked. Even, like Enraged Mao too, that was super cool. Like as an artist who loves just concept art and character art and stuff like that, I was just like, I was at a never-ending buffet with this game of things that it almost felt like they made this game for me. It almost felt like they made this game for me. In many respects, and I know so many of you out there that watch my stuff on my channel, you feel the same way I do about games as stories and of that era. Like, you probably felt like that too if you played it. Oh, they made this game for me. Oh my god. It felt like that at points. And this was like, this showed me, like, Square Enix can still do it. They can still do it. Here's the proof. Like, Adventures of Elliot's proof. They can still do it. And at a very high level. So, no notes on that. The music, the score was incredible. A company named Imagine Music was responsible for this, but there are two conductors, Tomohiro Nakamichi and Yuto Moritani. I want to make sure I gave those credit because I don't know either of those composers. I've got it pulled up here. But they were great. The soundtrack consists of 105 tracks. The Tales of Elliot soundtrack, the Adventures of Elliot soundtrack has 105 tracks? Yes, please. I don't think I heard 105 tracks, but, some of them blend together, and there's all these different, so I'm sure there are, I want to listen to all of it. I want to get to know these composers. Because, Nakamichi-san, Moritani-san, I might have work for you in the future. This was incredible work. Like, up there was some of the best Square Enix soundtracks. Well, if you consider this a Square Enix soundtrack, it was a Square Enix published game, but it's from a company called Imagine. It's up there with their best soundtracks of the last 10 years. It's a great soundtrack. It's fun to listen to. I love this, and every bit of score was absolutely in line with what was going on in that part of the story. It was absolutely necessary for that part of the story. It added to what was going on. It added to the great characters, the great writing. The music complemented all of this stuff, and the art was the final piece on top. But the writing, the story, the scenario, the characters, the performances with the music, and then you put the art on top. That's all needs to be said. I mean, it was really good. You can play it for yourself and find out. It was really, really good. The gameplay, it was standard action RPG gameplay, but for me, adjusting your magicite, it felt Materia-esque in a way, which I liked, which I really, really liked. I would like, if they do a second game, I would like more of a, like fusing system with the magicite, like a more directed approach at creating your magicite. Because I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I just hit the question mark the whole time. I'd show up with 1,000 pieces of magicite and just have the guy make whatever. I don't know if there's a more focused, a more direct way to do it. I know you can pick specific weapons to do, but I don't know if there's a better way to do that. In the next game, I would like something akin to synthesis, like doing that in a way, because this is basically materia. It's basically all like support materia, but with Huria, if they do her in the second game, and she can use magic, if they do something like that, fire, ice, lightning, water, all the different kind of stuff. Who's to say, different types of magicite will enhance her or give her different spells or abilities. Sky's the limit with that. That's a whole other system. I feel like they could spend a couple of years just really developing and fleshing out that system and making that something really, really special. Faye, as far as the gameplay goes, she was the gold star of the gameplay of this game. Aside from souping up Elliot with the magicite, every time you got a new spell with Faye, and you could enhance it, it naturally changed how you play the game. Not because the game was telling you now you have to change how you play the game. The spells were so fun to use for different things. Like even the whirlwind, which I used less than anything, but that was still fun to use. People are dropping bombs, use the whirlwind, you pull them into their own bombs, you blow stuff. I mean, it was super fun. The game presented these fun spells for you that Faye allowed you to use, because you couldn't use them before you had Faye the Fairy. It naturally presented them to you in a way that you wanted to experiment with those things. You wanted to try them out. And every time you got a new one, it changed how you wanted to play the game. It changed how I wanted to play the game. And just teleporting behind enemies and getting surprise attacks, or, having the fire lit for a while and then having Faye go over to where a bunch of enemies are and just having her combust and blow them all up. Like, It was so cool. And of course, just running around the map the whole time, just speed run. I got really good with the drift. Elliot's drift, I got really good with that. I got pinpoint with that by the end of the game. But yeah, so the gameplay was fantastic. The bosses, like I said, the enemies weren't super hard. Some of the puzzle enemies, you had to figure them out. But once you figured them out, like the big eye guy, you had to throw ice at him. Like, once you figured them out, like the Ulfers, like, were not super challenging. Even like the 5 or 6 star, like, Ulfer demigod thing or whatever, wasn't super tough, But that's not the draw of this game. This is not Dark Souls. You're not punching yourself in the teeth for a good time. That's not what this is. And there is a difficulty level. There's a slider on the difficulty. So if it was too easy, you can slide up. I played on normal. I just wanted the story. I thought that was perfectly fine. I really enjoyed it. So the gameplay for me, the Magicite and the magic phase magic was like really the cool stuff about this. Now, another aspect of the gameplay is the platforming and the puzzles. I thought were super fun. They were just challenging enough to provide, a bit of, challenge and understanding, oh, I gotta do this now, oh, that. And none of them felt super repetitive. Like, unless you were like in the Forest Temple again, or the Water Temple again. There's certain puzzles you're going to run into there. Even some of the enemies and stuff like that, the order at which you had to do some things, like time hopping and stuff like that, that was really cool. Like I said before, earlier at the beginning of this thing, this might be the best use of time travel ever in an RPG or a game that I've played. I think it was really well done. So the gameplay was awesome. Team Asano and Clay Techworks are the companies that made this game. Now, Clay Techworks, they were the ones who basically built the game, right? They like the map, the space, the battle system, the ins and outs, the technical side of the game was great. I thought they were great, and the reason I'm talking about this is because Team Asano over at Square, they had a chance to just write a game, say, we want it to play this way, we're going to develop it with this other outside company, we're going to just tell our story, just focusing on telling a great story. I loved this because it showed me when Square focuses just on telling a great story, they can still do it with the best of them. This was fantastic. Now, Naoki Yamamoto wrote Tales of Elliot. God, I keep doing that. Adventures of Elliot. He wrote Adventures of Elliot. Now, if that name sounds familiar, he also wrote Tales. He was in the Tales at. Well, it wasn't Tales of Zelia. Tales of Berseria. He wrote Tales of Berseria, and he also wrote. He wrote another Square Enix title. Was it Bravely Default? I think he wrote Bravely Default and Triangle Strategy. I know I wrote down Triangle Strategy right here because I knew that was a credit, but I think he also wrote Bravely Default. Anyway, he's a great writer, and his fingerprints are all over this thing because if you think of those tales, those are character-driven tales. You really empathize with the characters in those tales. Now, Tales of Berseria was not my favorite Tales game, but it was a gameplay thing mainly. The characters in Tales of Berseria were very good, and the scenario was pretty good. Like Bravely Default, I have to admit, never played. I have not played Bravely Default 1 or 2. Are there 3? I think there's just 2. I've never played them, so I can't say, but I know for a fact in Tales of Berseria, the character writing was the strong suit of that game. Point being for all this, if this is the path forward with these 2.5 HD 2D games, this is not a remake or a remaster, this is a game, an original IP game. If this is the path forward for this type of game, sign me up. Just let Square Enix publish it. Hey, we got this story, we got these characters, we're going to work with you on music, we're going to work with you on art. You build the game. If this is the path forward for these, sign me up. Also tells me why there's a $60 price tag on this game, which it feels like this should be a $49.99 game, because they are paying more people to work on it than they normally would have. So, If an extra $10 is the price of admission for a game of this quality, sign me up. That's an easy call. That's an easy call. I will gladly buy the physical edition of this game if they do another one. So I've already ordered. I did buy the digital of this because it's going to take forever to get the physical copy. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to play it at midnight. But I have also ordered the physical copy that will be going on the shelf back here. So anyway, this game, if you have not played this game, if you love games of this era, just look at my shelf back here. Right here. If you love games of this era, pick this. Just pick it up. Just pick it up. I mean, a lot of people that were watching me stream it, they were like, oh man, I didn't know it was going to be like this. This is cool. I love the demo. Just pick it up. Just go buy it. It is the gold standard of storytelling from Square Enix from recent years. This is the best game without Final Fantasy VII in the title since Square Enix became a company. I put my stamp on that. I will put my stamp on that. As far as like all the aspects I covered, story, characters, art, music, gameplay, all those, this is the best Square Enix game Square Enix has ever made. It feels like a Squaresoft game. And that is the biggest stamp I can put on this. It feels like a Golden Age Squaresoft game. Let that sink in for a minute. If you've ever heard anything I've ever said on this channel about the games I love, the Golden Age of gaming was spearheaded by Squaresoft and Capcom from 1994 to 2002, 2003. Those were the two companies that spearheaded the Golden Age of gaming. Squaresoft, Capcom. This feels like a Squaresoft game from about 1996, 1997. That's what this feels like. It does. I mean, it does not feel like anything Square Enix has made since they've been a company for the last, 20 years or whatever. It does not feel like anything's come out of that company for the last 20 years. This is really good. It's really good. And if this is their future, like not just 2D HD games, but games of this quality, I don't care if it's AAA, AA, HD, 2D, whatever. If this is the quality, then sign me up. If this is the new Square Enix, sign me up. Sign me up. As long as I can buy a physical copy. Sign me up. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the review. I can't help but give this game glowing praise. What score would I give this game? I don't like numeric scores. I don't like... I think I'm just going to give name scores out. You know, like mid, good, you know, great, whatever. I don't even know. Like if I was going to give it, I would give this a 9.5 out of 10. I would give this a 9.5 out of 10 because it's not a perfect game. It only loses a half a point because it wasn't like 40 hours. If this were a 40-hour game, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I would give it a perfect score. If it could maintain the level that it does for 40 hours, like a classic like PlayStation 1 Squaresoft RPG, if it could maintain the intensity of the greatness, there's an intensity to the greatness of this game, and if it could maintain that for 40 hours, it'd be a 10 out of 10. I mean, it still might even be a 10 out of 10. I mean, I don't like to give things perfect scores. This is a legendary title. This is a legendary title. And again, I might be a little biased. I'm not like a magazine journo or anything like that. I'm just a fan of a genre, and this was the meal I needed. This was the meal I needed. This was a 5-star meal. But I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. This is a legendary... If I were to put a name on it, I'd say legendary. This is a legendary title. This will go down as a legendary game. It will. So if you haven't played it, go play it. Check it out. It's amazing. It's worth every minute and every penny you put into it. This game is worth all of it and more. So anyway, please subscribe to the channel. Throw a like on the video, share it around if you enjoyed that review and everything. I don't do a lot of overlays and crazy stuff or whatever. I just put my thoughts out there on a thing and then let you all digest. But you just listen to me in the background or whatever. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you all enjoyed my thoughts on that. I don't do enough reviews. I barely ever do reviews, but I need to start doing more. I know a lot of you on my Discord have been telling me do more reviews. I'm like, I'm trying, but I will try to sit down and make an effort to do more of these in the future. So anyway, you all have a great day. Be safe, be good to each other, keep rocking. And I will catch you all in the next video or live stream, whichever it might be. I'll see you later.